have to remove the drive shaft to change the O2 sensor. It's a Jeep thing. Gosh, I hate saying that. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of LJ's Garage. I'm not in the garage today, but I am in my 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee. This is an Overland, and I want to talk about this Jeep because I have a sort of love-hate relationship with this, but at the end of the day, I really do love this. And if you are on the market for one of these and considering one of these, I always say two things. One, are you handy? Are you willing to do the work on your own car? Are you willing to do the service, the maintenance, all of that? The other thing is, are you willing to put up with it's a Jeep thing? Because until I owned this one, well, actually, my Wrangler, I understood what a Jeep thing meant. But this, I really hear this all the time. It's a Jeep thing. And I don't know about you guys, but sometimes that just doesn't fly. So what I want to cover in this video is kind of my last 40,000 miles with this. Let me do some math. I got this at about 70,000 miles. And key tip for you guys, if you are shopping for a vehicle, make sure that you buy them in areas that people aren't looking for these. That way you get crazy deals. Be careful also with deals though, because sometimes the deal is a nightmare. I know a lot of people, when cars get out of warranty or they hit 100,000 miles, they're like, oh, I hate this car is horrible. And I will never be that person. I will never be Scotty Kilmer, whatever that guy's name is. Anyways, let's backtrack. So the Overland, the Jeep Grand Cherokee, this has got the two engines. So it's got the 5.7 and it's got the 3.6. Actually, it's got three engines, and then there's the diesel. When shopping, I originally wanted to get the diesel because I thought it was cool. Then I ended up wanting the V8. Then I realized that, oh, the 2014 is the first year of the 10-speed automatic transmission. With that being said, the first year of any vehicle is always a risk. It's always a gamble. And I knew that. But I got a deal on it because it was the first year. But this body style has been since 2014 up until 2021. I think you could still, the 22 is the first year of the new design. But with all that covered, I bought this one as a 2014 first year, knew that I was going to get the first year problems and maybe a couple headaches. I was kind of accepting that. But I got a little bit more than that. And it's not the Jeep's fault as much as it is poor engineering, because this car is not designed for you to work on very easily, which was my understanding when I first got it was, hey, it's a Jeep. The 3.6 is such a popular engine. It's Chryslers, Dodges, all over the place. So, you know, finding information, finding parts, finding someone to work on it, easy. And that is true. All of those things are true. The problem is that the key fail points in this Jeep are not easy to get to. And Jeep does not do a good job of making it so that high risk, high fail mechanical components or sensors are easy to get to. This Jeep has pissed me off, and I've lost blood, sweat, tears, time, and a lot of money. But at the same time, I still love it. And everyone's always like, oh, are you gonna get rid of it? And I'm stubborn and I can't. I just love it. If you've seen any of my other videos on this, you know that the Overland is my favorite trim, and it just hits everything that I need, and it's just luxurious, it's nice, and believe it or not, I got this for $18,000 back in 2020 when people weren't buying cars and cars were just, you know, they were giving away cars. So 70,000 miles, about 18, whatever it was. I don't remember the exact number. So it starts off fine. As I was test driving it though, I realized that the rotors were causing a little vibration at about 70, 75 miles an hour. And I told the dealership, they took care of it. So shout out to Jermaine Lexus over in Columbus. Those guys are awesome to work with. They changed out the rotors, saved me probably $500 worth of labor, parts, and everything. So I was happy with that. Let's see. A month goes by, I'm driving it, and I realize as I drive on the highway and I drive aggressively and try to pass, you know, maybe get up to speed merging, whenever it would be in 8th gear, it would drop down to 5th or 6th gear, but it would be such an aggressive thud that it would feel like the transmission just completely broke itself. I talked to Jeep, paid $100 for them to drive it, could not figure out what it was, did all my maintenance. At the time, oil changes, fluids, everything, and I was like, okay, maybe that will help. Couldn't get it to stop. Took it to the dealership. They kept it for about 3 days. They said they couldn't replicate the issue, and they still charged me anyways. I was pretty pissed off because I told them that it was doing this. They said all Jeeps do that. It's just a normal thing with this 10-speed automatic. So the mechanic did me a favor. He did some digging on the service history, and he told me that at about 8,000 miles, when this was brand new, they replaced the transmission control module. I believe that was the name of it. I'll put the name down here because I can't remember the exact name. But that was having shifting issues then. They replaced that, and here we are now, and it still does it intermittently. The other problem was every time you start this on a cold start, no matter what it is, that first initial shift out of the driveway from first to second gear, it holds first gear way too long, and then it aggressively shifts into second. Why? I don't know. But I was told it's a Jeep thing. Went on the forums, went on Facebook, in the Jeep groups, a lot of people have had that problem. And they've had their Jeep make it to 100, 200,000 miles doing it. So somehow the transmission just does that. It's a Jeep thing. Gosh, I hate saying that. So I'm not saying that it's been horrible. This thing has never left me stranded. It's never had any major issues. I took it on a drive to Florida, and that's when things kind of got a little bit worse. So halfway on my drive to Florida, I get a check engine light. Couldn't diagnose it because I didn't have a reader at the time. So I finally diagnose it, and it says it's my oil pressure sensor. And I'm like, okay, fine, oil pressure sensor, easy, $50, buy a new sensor, replace it, cake, right? No. Call the dealership. It's a labor-intensive job. Did some digging. It's about 6 hours worth of work because you have to remove the whole top half of the engine block, essentially, intake manifold, all of that, to get to one oil pressure sensor. Sucked. Then on the drive back, my air conditioning decided to stop working. So it would be blowing nice and cold for a little bit, then nothing, then hot, and it was 95 to 105 degrees in Florida during the summertime. I was pissed. So I drove 1,000 miles back from Florida to Ohio, and it was miserable. Then the other thing I did some digging into, and I realized if you open all your climate vents in the Grand Cherokees, there is not enough air pressure to get the rear passengers to cool off, as well as the front. So you have 4 vents up front, 2 in the back, and so you have to close 2 up front to get more air pressure at the back. And that's kind of stupid. This is a big family SUV fit for, 5 big adults, and you're telling me that Jeep didn't think to maybe, put bigger fans in here or whatever it is. So that pissed me off. So anyways, bring it back to Ohio, find the part, ordered it on Amazon, got everything to go, and then I got into it. So it took me a whole week. I just spread the 6 hours after work, and you guys can see some clips from that, but it is very labor intensive. It's not the easiest thing. It's probably one of the hardest jobs I've done on any car. Then after that, I realized that I had a leak on my oil cooler housing. So that's a normal common fail point on these. So I went ahead, ordered another oil cooler housing, sent back my sensor because I found one that came with the oil pressure sensor as well as the oil temp sensor. So I put those 2 back on, put everything together, installed it, started the Jeep up, everything was good. Then I realized that my hoses were starting to crack a little bit, so I broke one of the hoses at the time, my evap purge hose. So I got to replace that, so I just duct taped it for now, or electric taped it for now. Shortcuts, they're just a thing. So anyways, that's besides that point. And as soon as I drove it, a couple days later, upstream O2 sensor went bad. And I said, okay, you know what? It's an O2 sensor, easy to get to. I got this, no problem. Well, the O2 sensor is in a terrible spot, and I could not get to it. No matter what tools I did, I tried to go from the top, underneath. No matter what I could do, I could not get to it. So then I called the dealership. I was like, you know what? I'm pissed off. My knuckles are busted. I don't have the tools. I guess I just can't figure this out. And they told me, you have to remove the drive shaft to change the O2 sensor. What kind of design is that? So they told me it was going to be $600 and something. I cried. And I told them, listen, why is this that much? And they told me it sucks. Their mechanics hate doing it. That's the labor cost, whatnot. They gave me a deal, and I paid it because I was sick and tired of this thing, and drove it for, let's see, I'd say I drove it for about 500 miles, and then another check engine light came on. And this time, it's for my thermostat. So with this thing, I've probably had about 5 check engine lights in the last year. That's a lot. On top of tires, oil changes, and all the other things. This has been one of the most needy cars that I've owned. And I love the interior, I love the features, I love the bells and whistles, and I love the air suspension, which people are like, better hope that doesn't go out on you. I would cry. But anyways, I just wanted to share a little bit of the ownership experience that I've had with this Grand Cherokee. So if you are thinking of buying one, warranties are your friend. And on top of that, don't be scared to get down and dirty. Do some of the work on this. But I'm gonna do more with this SUV as time goes on, because I like it, I enjoy it, and I'm hoping that this isn't a sinking ship and I just keep putting money and time and effort into it, and it just keeps on like having issues. So it's not driving perfectly. I'm getting the wobbles again back, and I'm assuming that it's time for new rotors. I've had it since, like I said, 2022. I bought it in about November, August. So a good couple years with this, and it's driven well over 35,000 miles, I think I'm at. But I'm at 113,000 on the odometer. And if you are buying one of these used, which most people would be, don't be scared. I've seen these get 200,000 miles, and the 3.6 is a strong motor, and the 10-speed automatic is a strong transmission. So I just want to say that reliability-wise, this is reliable. However, maintenance-wise, it's not easy to work on. Spark plugs, it's 6 hours to do spark plugs if you do it on your own and you have as many garage tools as you can. And that's me, that's someone that has done, spark plugs that normally take 30 an hour to do some spark plugs, maybe an hour and a half, but not on this. So yeah, it's different. It's something that you kind of have to be ready for. And I don't know, I wish I could say that this thing is just a champ and I want to take it into the wilderness and go mudding and beat it up and everything, but I am actually scared to do that. I do want to get some new tires, new wheels, maybe a wrap, and do a little bit to this thing, but I'm scared to, because I don't trust it quite yet. I got a little bit more maintenance to do, and I think once I do that, I will be happy with it. But in the meantime, I figured I'd do a little update video and share this for people who are considering buying one of these. So take it with a grain of salt, because with any car, there's always going to be someone that says it's never had any problems, it's been perfect for them, and yada yada blah blah. I mean, there's always people that are going to say that. So I'm not a professional, I don't know everything, but I know the Grand Cherokee pretty well now. Even just, I remember trying to change the headlights on the headlight bulbs, and you have to remove the ECU out of the way, and then on this side you move the intake in order to get your hands in, and you will cut your effing hands up just trying to change light bulbs. It's a pain. But if you have any questions, comments, concerns, want to know anything else about the Grand Cherokee, if you're thinking of buying one, or the 3.6, go ahead and ask. I like talking about it. I hate the pain that I've gone through, but this thing is my baby, and I love the Overland. So you're probably going to see a lot more videos on it next year, and I'll do a lot more with it. But in the meantime, I'm just trying to get the maintenance, get this thing to be tough and rugged again like Jeep's supposed to be. But if you're new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button, like, comment, all that good stuff, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.